you record it and there you go. Excellent. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to our First Friday Forum. Happy to have you all on today. The first thing I wanted to talk about is our schedule for the First Friday Forum for the rest of the year to give you a preview. So next month in July, we will not be having a First Friday Forum meeting because it would be July 5th. And I think everybody will still be recovering from their revelries on July 4th. And a lot of people will faire du pont, as they used to say, or make the bridge for the weekend. It'll probably become a 4-day weekend. So we will not have a First Friday Forum on July. But we do have our schedule lined up for the rest of the year. And I just wanted to tell you about it quickly. I think I have the list here. So on August 2nd, we're going to be hearing from Erica Whitfield. She's from the Palm Beach County School Board, and she'll be talking about education because the school year will be starting up. On September 6th, we're going to hear from Wendy Sartori-Link. She's the Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections, and she'll be talking about the different rules and regulations that are in place now for the November election. So that's very timely for her to join us in September. On October 4th, we'll be hearing from Jared Smith, who is the CEO of Bethesda for the Baptist Hospital conglomerate. And we'll get to hear a lot of the new technology and things that are happening at Bethesda. He's a wonderful speaker, so I'm looking forward to hearing from him. And on November 1st, we're going to hear from our new mayor, Tom Carney. He'll be our guest on November 1st. We do have someone scheduled for December, but she can't confirm her schedule until November, so we'll be announcing that one later. But we do have the rest of the year lined up, so we just wanted to let you know what's coming up. So I guess without further ado, Michael, do you want to introduce Amy and talk about what we're talking about today?
Oh, it'd be my pleasure. Ms. Kemp is with a organization that is only in the newspapers when something goes wrong, but they make it right. It's not so easy to be the kind of organization that they are. They're a company, but they're a utility. And yet somehow Amy's able to balance these things, get out to the public and solve it. So think about all the things we take for granted, and they never get a pat on the shoulder. But that's why we want to come and have her here and try to explain what it is that we're going to be doing this season, and to let you know that they are already thinking about it. So Amy, tell us how it is that I was talking about. It's a big nightmare for, local landlords, but it's a bigger nightmare for you. Tell us about the upcoming season and how it might be handled.
Okay, unmute
Amy,
yourself.
Yeah, you're on mute.
Got it. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Perfect. I guess I was double muted.
Well, I'm going to stop sharing
I'm
going to stop sharing my screen so you can share yours.
Okay, excellent. Well, first, thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you all today and for that great introduction, Michael. As Stephanie mentioned, I oversee what we call our external affairs relationships. So what that means is that I serve as a liaison for the local chambers, HOAs, cities. So I cover about 18 different cities within Central and Southern Palm Beach County. And as Michael alluded to, June 1st is the official start of hurricane season. But for us, I think it's hurricane season year round. I can't tell you one day that we're not thinking about hurricane season. It is predicted to be a very heavy storm season. Obviously, the path of the storms and the strength isn't always something that can be easily predicted, but with the high temperatures and just all that we're seeing around the globe, we are expecting to have a very unprecedented season. So for us, it's very important that we are prepared so that you all can be comfortable and can trust that when a storm does come, that we will do everything as possible to be able to restore quicker. But it is also very important for us that we can share resources so that each of you can also be prepared in your own home. So with that, I'm going to just go ahead and share my screen and let me know if you see it.
We do.
You see it? Perfect. Excellent. Well, one thing that I want to highlight is the fact that we are almost 100 years old. So what you see on the screen is actually our humble beginnings back in 1925. And what you see to the right is today. So we are a company that has been very proud to be not only powering Florida, but helping with its economic development and its growth. And so when we think about restoration, right, and when we think about hurricanes, just to put it in a little bit of perspective, FPL serves about 43 counties, and we cover thousands and thousands of miles of distribution, of transmission, and of customers. So across our entire service territory, we serve over 5.9 million customer accounts. And we say accounts because an account can have more than one individual, right? When you think of your individual home, that can be 3 to 4 people or more. And so for us, what makes it sometimes challenging, right, is the fact that our territory is quite spread out throughout the entire state. So at any given point, any storm that comes could potentially be an impact to our customers. So we want to make sure that we're always prepared for that. I alluded to the fact that we're about to reach our 100 years, but I want to actually share a quick fact in case you all don't know this. When we started, FPL actually served as an ice plant. We had sponge boats, and we actually had 35 mules that we used to deliver that ice. And so if you've ever heard of our in-house incubator, 35 Mules, it's actually named that to pay homage to our very humble roots. So we have been very proud to be able to grow vastly over the past century, but we had very, very humble roots. As we continue growing and to help not only with our reliability, with our restoration, we've been very focused on diversifying our energy mix. We've seen the impacts of the volatility of fuel prices, but for us, making sure that we remove as much of that risk as possible from our customers is important to be able to then provide that reliable electricity and to keep those bills as low as possible. I think I had maybe shared it with Stephanie, and you all may have seen it with the news, but in April and May of this year, we were actually able to reduce our customer rates, first by removing what we call the fuel surcharge, which is the pass-through for those rates, and then our storm surcharge. So the average bill for a customer that uses about 1,000 kilowatts reduced by about $14. So may not be too much, right? But $14 can go a long way for the average customer. And so when we think about hurricane restoration, I do want to be clear that as a company, we can't ever remove outages completely, right? It's just the nature of electricity. However, what we can try to do is reduce the frequency and duration of those outages and make our system as reliable as possible. So we are continuing to underground our what we call our distribution lines, or customer lines. We've hardened our transmission structures, our main lines. And when we think about this, I always explain it almost like a tree. Right? When you think of a tree, you want it to be as strong as possible from its roots to its trunk to its branches. For us, that main trunk is what we would consider our transmission and our feeder lines, right? Those have to be as strong as possible, or the tree just doesn't stand. Then when you have those individual branches, those are the ones that feed the individual homes. Those are what we call our distribution lines. And those are the ones that we are moving underground. So we've hardened our transmission structure. We've converted the majority of our feeder lines to concrete, and then we're moving underground so that every single point that there is a delivery of electricity, we want to make sure that we have it as storm resistant as possible. And this is just an image, as I was sharing, of not only our hardening poles, but one thing that sometimes it's not thought of, sometimes yes, but vegetation, right? Vegetation is actually the #1 cause for outages within not only our service territory, but everywhere. When you think of our electric lines, especially those that serve homes, they're typically in the back of properties where there's beautiful vegetation, right, that gives us shade and that gives us all these beautiful things, but that makes it difficult for us to access or to trim, right? And when we do trim, unfortunately, it's not always what a customer would consider aesthetically pleasing, right? So the more we can reduce not only the susceptibility for those lines, but we can minimize trimming those lines if we can put those lines underground. So we try to tackle our risk for storms as much as possible. Now, what you're interested in is, well, what happens when there is a storm, right? And one really neat thing that I want to highlight is the fact that we actually use multiple aspects of technology, from our smart meters, multiple aspects of our smart grid, but drones have been a technology that we have started to leverage from a long time ago. But when Hurricane Ian actually impacted our territory, we were able to use our first ever fixed wing drone, which essentially looks like a small airplane, to actually get a full bird's eye view of where storm damage actually impacted. Now, why is this important, right? Why am I telling you about a drone? Well, when you think about our utility that serves electricity and water, right, from these storms will never mix. So for us to always be able to get to the areas that are hit the hardest, the quickest, we have to make sure that that water can recede, but we have to be able to put eyes on it before we figure out where to send our crews, right? Seems logical. So if we can have that bird's eye view of where that storm damage is, we can quickly say, well, the Punta Gorda area, the Fort Myers area, or the Delray Beach area, right, were impacted the most. Here's X amount of damage. We have put eyes on it. We expect that water will recede in X amount of hours. Let's start prepping to get crews there so that when that water recedes, we can be there as quickly as possible, right? So it helps us strategize and make sure that we can have that information as quickly as possible and really survey that information. Now, when it comes to our restoration, the logic of our restoration process sometimes works like a military operation, I say. So all of the facilities within a community are actually reviewed with local leaders at the Emergency Operations Center. So the Palm Beach County EOC actually meets with us regularly, where we designate critical infrastructure to be among those first to be restored. So what that means is that when there is a hurricane, we of course want to make sure that our power plants are on and fully operational, right? We want to make sure that our substations have no issues, and then we have to start restoring. And restoration means everything from 911 centers, hospitals, mental health institutions, jails, schools, shelters, right? And we haven't even gotten to customers. So we have to make sure that there is a very intentional approach to how we restore. And that's where our local leadership plays a huge role. So all critical infrastructure facilities are designated by the county management. So it's not FPL's decision, it is the EOC's decision. And that helps us make sure that we're restoring those priorities first, so that all those resources that are needed for a community are available whenever that's necessary. However, we're doing that from the restoration strategy. For us, it's important that customers prepare that plan, as I was saying, and can have their own hurricane kit, that can have their own information. So we actually have a website strictly designated to help customers be prepared for that. And that's what you see on the screen. It's fpl.com/storm. And that helps us, it gives you a cheat sheet of what to expect. It helps you maintain up to date on communication that we have. And what you see on the screen are examples. We leverage everything from X, from Facebook, email communications, the app, right? Customers communicate in various ways. So the quickest that we know that a storm is going to impact, we want to make sure that you all are getting as quick of an information access as possible. Everything from automated calls to outreach, we want to make sure that our customers know exactly what we're doing and that we communicate restoration timeframe, right? For us, and the image you see here, sort of the logic of how we start restoring. So I mentioned the power plant, our transmission lines and substations, and then you can see we get to the homes, right? So there's sort of a staggered approach where our design is structured in a way to help us restore the greatest amount of customers as quickly as possible so that they can have the resources, but we can bring obviously as many online as possible. So this is where having a plan is as crucial as possible. Now, for us as an organization, I mentioned that we never stop thinking about hurricanes, right? So Each May, we actually have what we call a storm dry run, and it just passed. You may have seen it on the news. But there's a full week in May where we actually simulate a storm impacting our territory. Every FPL employee, as part of our employment, we each have a storm role, as we call it. So we have a blue sky role, as we say, which mine is what I mentioned, this external affairs manager position. When there is a storm, 72 hours before a storm makes landfall, we get activated, and we use the word deployed. So we get deployed to our storm role. And what that means is that 72 hours before landfall, we're already trying to predict where that hurricane could impact. We're starting our preparations within our personal homes, right? We're packing our bags and we're going to our locations. For me, I would report to the Emergency Operations Center, but that's when we also start having crews get prepared to travel to our locations. We start having communications with customers. We start setting up what we call staging sites, or we want to make sure that we pre-position all our crews where we think the storm is going to be while still maintaining their safety, so that when that water recedes, right, when that storm passes, we can be there to respond as quickly as possible. So we activate the storm organization, as I mentioned. We start analyzing what the damage forecast could be. So we do have our in-house meteorologist that gives us not only predictions, but that we can communicate what does this mean for our customers? What does this mean for our employees? Where is the path? When is it possible for us to, how long can we travel, right? Until winds start getting too strong, until it's not safe anymore. We start contacting our suppliers and our vendors, right? Everything from porta potties at a staging site to meals, right? To making sure that every single truck is accounted for. We want to make sure that every single aspect is coordinated and communicated. We also participate in what we call mutual assistance. So when you think of storm restoration, right, you can typically imagine just those convoys of trucks down the highway, right? If you see them down 95, that's when you should be in the location, right, that you're planning to be for that storm, because things are about to get real. But that means that we are getting such support, not only from our local crews, but from other utilities. And why that's important is that if one utility needs support, every single one within the state needs support, right? If Duke needs help, if Tico needs help. We had some facilities that needed support in Texas, right, with tornadoes. We've helped Puerto Rico after their hurricanes, after Hurricane Maria impacted. So we help each other as utilities, and that helps us restore all customers as quickly as possible. We use local facilities from stadiums, from fairgrounds to have staging sites to make sure that everyone has a central location point. And we even have mobile command centers where we can make sure that we have access to all of our information, but we can essentially work from everywhere to have essentially a central operation system. I can tell you for a fact that we work 24/7 till customers are restored. When Hurricane Ian impacted the West Coast, I personally worked 21 days straight until the last customer was restored. So I know sometimes it could be perceived as, well, lights are on, I don't see anyone in my community, FPL's done. FPL's not done until that last customer is restored. And I can tell you from personal experience that we mean that and we believe in that, because that is our responsibility. So that's our way, of course, making sure that you have that trust in us, right? Now, that's during the storm season, hoping and praying that there is not any storms, right? But when there is a storm and when we go back to operations, we want to make sure that you have the best access to not only reliable and safe, but cost-efficient power. And I was alluding to the fact of the fuel volatility. We are continuing to develop as much low-cost solar as possible. As an organization, our approach to solar has continuously been our larger utility scale solar, because it makes the most sense for us to be able to maintain and be able to support that for our customers. We don't have any coal in our portfolio, so all of our facilities are a mix of nuclear, natural gas, solar, and most recently, even hydrogen. For us, solar is a very great technology because it doesn't require fuel to operate. Since our investments in solar, we've actually been able to save all of our customers, over $900 million in fuel costs. And the reason why we mentioned this is, for us, because fuel is required to generate electricity, it's actually a pass-through cost to customers. So we're not essentially profiting or taking that. That is a pass-through charge that, as it's required through the Florida Public Service Commission. So the more we can reduce what those fuel charges are, the less of a cost that our customers face, right? So it helps us make sure that we're leveraging Florida sunshine, but we're also keeping those bills low. Hydrogen is also a really cool and unique technology where we're continuing to evaluate what else can we do to not only reduce that volatility, but diversify our resources. So everything from partnering with other communities for waste to energy facilities, to also using that synthetic natural gas and alternative fuels. We're constantly trying to think, what can we do more to make sure that we have that diverse and efficient energy grid for our customers. Now, from an economic development perspective, right, I can tell you about FPL, tell you about hurricane season, but as members of the chamber, right, which is a key stakeholder, key individual within our communities, Florida has continued to be one of the largest growing states in the nation. We're adding thousands and thousands of customer accounts. So with us, that means greater demand on our grids, right? Greater demand on our facilities. That means more traffic, right? Transportation. From an economic development perspective, Florida continues growing, and we continue being a part of not only continuing to develop that plan to support the needs of those customers, but making sure that those facilities are there and have that efficiency and have those savings for them. We are very proud to continue being one of the most efficient utilities in the U.S. So very happy for that. But for customers, efficiency, reliability, and cost effectiveness is one thing. But we want to make sure that you also have as much access to tools and to manage your accounts. So we have lots of interactive aspects that can help you manage your energy needs. We can even conduct what we call these energy audits to understand what are you doing within your business, right, within your home, that can help you save as much as possible, right? Let's talk about how you manage your AC during the summer, right? During peak hours, what additional aspects can you do to make sure that, yes, you can rely on us to have that diversity, to have that reliability, and to have that low cost, but what else can we do, right, to make sure that you've got that control over your bills? Everything from budget billing to the on-call program. We've got multiple aspects that you can really tap into to make sure that you have access to your house and your savings. What I'll leave you with, and I always support so much within the community, is our passion to making sure that we're continuing to not only support the economic development and the reliability, but what makes our communities what they are, right? As I mentioned, Stephanie and the chamber play such a key role in businesses, right? In helping you thrive and helping you have as much information and resources as possible. And so if we can even play a small role in that, for me, it's one of the most fulfilling parts of my job. And I know I mentioned that to Stephanie quite often. Everything from recognizing our veterans during holiday hero lightings, to hurricane meal kits for our seniors, to our Power to Care campaigns. We want to make sure that we're continuously giving back, right? Because you help us be better, and you help us not only create a better environment for all of our neighbors, but also all of our employees are local, right? We've got, I think, over 9,000 employees that live with you, right? Chances are I'm not the only FPL employee that you know. So it's also important for us to create an environment that is rewarding for our employees, but also for our community, so that you think of us, yes, when things go wrong, but you also think of us when things go well, and we can be there as your neighbor to support. So hopefully we continue serving for over more than 100 years, but I leave you with these pictures so you can see how much we've come as a company. But with that, I wrap it up. Stephanie and Michael, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Amy. It's always interesting to hear about FPL and all the different developments that you have to help us stay safe and get our power back during a storm. All the storms that I've been through in Florida, FPL's done a tremendous job in getting everyone's power back. And I love hearing about all the new technology that you're using as well. So I'm sure people have questions. First of all, I wanted to say I'm not 100 years old yet, but I remember that light bulb logo with that little face with the light bulb for a nose when I was a kid. Am I the only one that remembers that? I'm really showing my age. It was quite funny to see that. So Michael,
No.
yeah. Michael, I'm going to turn it over to you to field some of the questions. I'm sure you have some questions too.
Yes. So solar panels. I'm sure FPL have given a lot of thought to this. Has that added to the burden in a storm, or can things get up and get going as fast, even with reliance on solar panels?
Sure, great question. I can actually tell you during the past storms, we had no damage to our solar fields, which was unreal. Because we strategically find locations where there is minimal vegetation, there's minimal risk for any type of damage. They are constructed in a way and in an angle that can help minimize that damage. Now, I'm sure there's probably a risk, as with anything, right, to be damaged, but because we try to have as much diversity in how our generation is made, that even if there is some damage, we can still continue supporting electricity with all of our other fuel sources. So I believe in, and I can definitely follow up with some slides and information if you want it. We've had minimal, if any, damage during the past storms.
Well, you gave me a tip. When I retire, I'm going to move next to one of your solar fields because you've obviously psyched it out, and I won't have to worry about her. So that's great.
There you go.
I guess Pam Roush when you see her. I don't know if other questions. I mean, I know the enormity of the task. I've hung out at the City Hall when they're beginning to go into their safe rooms and seen the amount of coordination. I mean, it's just, it is. I mean, it's almost like an attack now, unfortunately. Nice to see you have an Air Force. That's good. So I respect it, and I'm glad that you deployed all of the resources that you have. It's not easy for the state, and it's not getting easier. I don't know if anybody else has any other questions. Anybody on the barrier island should be asking questions.
Well, I have a quick question about your AC bill in the summertime. What is the best way to manage your air conditioning in the summertime to keep the costs lower?
Yeah, so we actually have resources on our website that can help you manage that. But traditionally, we suggest around 78 degrees or so, especially when you're not home. During the majority of the day is what we call peak hours. So there's highest demand, right, on our system, because it's the hottest amount of part of the day, and everyone wants to cool down, and people that are home are using the resources. So that pulls a lot on the system. So we suggest, I should say, around 78 degrees, but that can vary, right? If your house doesn't have the right insulation, if you're leaving your doors cracked, your windows, if you have your fans on, I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into it, but the AC is definitely one of those pieces of equipment that pull the most electricity.
It does in our house, because I've looked at I've used your resources that explains where the energy is going to. So that I'm just curious for my own edification. I'm sure everybody else is. Any other questions for Amy while we've got her?
Hey,
yes. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Kemp, go ahead.
Oh, sorry about that. Yes, I just had a question about the expansion of the solar, and what kind of percentage are you looking at going forward generating from renewables?
Sure, absolutely. Great question. So our goal is to have, I think we kicked it off a few years back, where our goal is to have 30 million panels by 2030. So we are almost there. I'll tell you that we'll have quite a mix of variation. I don't recall the numbers specifically on solar, but it's definitely up there over 20% that we're trying to have that generation, but we're trying to have diversity, as I was explaining. So solar will be one aspect. Battery storage, obviously we want to have our hydrogen, nuclear, so we're constantly evaluating, but solar is the greatest growth that we're having. It's not as visible, if you will, within the southern Palm Beach County area because there isn't as much of that land and access for it, but the majority of the growth is going on towards the Okeechobee area and north of that.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, hi, Amy. This is Karen Hendricks. Sorry, my video's not working. Amy, my question is charging stations for electric cars. I think I saw on the FPL website that there may be some help there in getting a charging station put in a home. However, you have to have a garage. In a community like ours where we don't have garages, is there anything that FPL is working on or might be coming out with that would afford a non-garage resident in Delray Beach to get a charging station if they got their condo association's approval?
I think we're constantly evaluating it. I can definitely put you in touch with our FPL EV contacts to help evaluate that. I think it makes sense, right? From not only a continued development aspect, but to give that access to the multi-home communities. I don't know where we're at on that, but I can definitely follow up. And just for the benefit of the group, so we have a program called the FPL EV charging program, and it allows you to essentially pay a fixed rate for charging. So if you do the full installation with a charger and everything, it's about $38 per month if you charge during nights, weekends, and off-peak hours. So instead of having to pay the charge per kilowatt hour, you're actually just paying a flat fee. If you only do the equipment, I think it's about a $31 charge, but you still get the benefit of essentially one flat fee instead of having to pay, for a regular rate. There is no upfront cost to the installation, but there is a 10-year commitment that does transfer with you as you move. But there is a commitment with it because it is obviously regulated with the PSC. But I can definitely send more information for that. And thank you, Karen. I'll definitely make sure I follow up with you.
Okay,
thanks,
I
Amy.
can put you in touch. I'll put you guys in touch via email. Or maybe, if you don't mind, Amy, could you put your email in the chat?
Yeah, I put my email to Amy directly in the chat. So thank you very much. Appreciate your offer to help, Amy.
Absolutely.
So anyone else have any questions?
Yes,
Okay.
I have a question. This is Paul Marabella with 360 Fire and Flood. How you doing today, Amy?
Good. Thanks, Paul.
Good. Thanks for your time today. I did have a question as far as I know you mentioned restoration companies as far as when the season which is upon us, and how do you choose your restoration companies as far as FPL goes in the South Florida region?
Great question, and I can tell you're interested, so I'm happy to put you in touch. So we go through a very thorough bidding process to actually select our companies. So we're constantly looking to see if there's any others that we can add, especially local, right? If you're local and you're in the area, that definitely helps. If you're willing to travel, of course, that helps too. But to answer your question as simply as possible, we go through a bidding process. And we have restoration vendors that we essentially onboard to assist with that. But the more we have, the better access, right? So if you don't mind following up with your contact info, I'll put you in touch with our procurement team. And then that way we can look at what you offer and, what we can do.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And yeah, we're actually we're nationwide. I'm based out of South Florida, but we are nationwide as well. So amy.kemp, is that your email at fpl.com?
Yes.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Great. Glad we could help make that connection. I love doing that. Wonderful. Anyone else before I let Amy go? Okay. Well, thank you so much, Amy, for coming on today and providing your contact information, because I'm sure lots of people have follow-ups, and I know you're always available to me and to all of our chamber members. So I appreciate you Thank you. We've got some applause from Kent. Having you
Absolutely.
as a partner of ours. FPL is actually one of the sponsors of the First Friday Forum as one of our community partners. So we appreciate you.
Thank you. And I will say, just to echo your comments, Stephanie, I'm always available by cell or email, especially with all of you being involved with the chamber. My role is structured to help you all. So you're always welcome to call the 1-800 number and go through that process. But you've got a direct line to me, thanks to Stephanie. So anything I can do to support, let me know. And I may not always have the right answers or any of the answers, but I will always be a connector to support. So appreciate it.
Thank you. We love working with you. Thank you again.
Thank you. I got to drop, but I know we'll talk soon.
Okay. I know. I'll see you soon. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye. Take care. So David Veal is actually in Portugal at the moment, and I'm very jealous. So I'll be talking and calling on our partners today. So I thought I would start with Kent, since we're talking about sustainability and our environment. I thought I'd bring you on first.
Good morning, everybody. Yes, I'm off today, but the topic was so interesting to me, and so I was really glad to hear that. And actually, I have a follow-up item for Amy too, so that was really good. The biggest topic that I wanted to update on is our climate action plan, which was the final presentation in our Earth Month presentations. And we have gotten close to 200 responses on that survey, and really appreciate the chamber having our QR code up for people to take that. The large majority, 70+%, are in favor of a climate action plan and addressing energy, water, transportation, green infrastructure, and a couple of other items there. That interestingly, there's between 15 and 20% that select no on energy, and then yes on several other of the sections. And I really couldn't figure out why that might be, but it occurred to me that may well be the sector that really does not tie human activities to climate change. And I mean, in my research, I really believe that carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases, because methane is a very important one also, and others. But I think that really is a key to an area of education, and why in just about every presentation that I make on climate change and planning greenhouse gas reduction, I start out with the climate change is real and why. So over the next couple of months leading up to September 6th, which will be the Climate and Culture event, we're going to have some outreach, and Climate and Culture will focus on the climate action plan results and also networking opportunities. So next month should have an update on how Climate and Culture is coming together. That's it.
Oh, wait, we're not meeting in July, so it'll have to be in August.
Oh, that's right.
No July
Okay.
meeting. Okay.
August will be
You
fine.
guys
It'll be
can
even
meet,
more
but
pleasant.
I won't be here. So that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you, Ken. I know Chris is on your team, but Chris, did you have anything you wanted to add? Is he
I
still there?
didn't see.
He was
Chris
there
on.
earlier. Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we'll go on. Why don't we hear from Chief Green? So Chief Green is our interim new fire chief, and I know he was planning on being on today. I think he was on earlier. Did you?
Yes.
There you are.
Yes. Good morning. Good morning.
Hey.
Yes, Kevin Green. I'm the interim fire chief. The city is going through a selection process right now to seek out a permanent fire chief, but the mission of the fire department doesn't change. We continue to move forward and prepare for hurricane season. We've already had one EOC exercise, and we have more planned. But we are preparing for a busy storm season. So we're grateful for the slow ones we've had in the past. But the one message is don't get lulled into complacency. And I think that a lot of us in South Florida get in that mode. I was born and raised here, and so we went for a long period of time with no storms. And so this year they're predicting many. course, we know that there's factors that may drive them away from us, and we're grateful for those. Get that Bermuda high set up just right and move them away. But in any case, we are prepared. So that's the report from the fire department.
I know you're prepared. I've worked with you for so many years, Chief. So I know you've been at our fire department for so long. So I'm glad that you're at the helm.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and timely for hurricane season coming in.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for the chief since we're talking about hurricanes? Just want to be sure. Okay, let's hear from our partner at the CRA. Renee's on today.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi. So a few updates. At our last board meeting on May 30th, our board appointed a few members for the redevelopment advisory committee, something we've been talking about for a few months now. So we have appointed 3 members. I think we still need to go back and appoint a few more in our July meeting, but we still need applicants for sub areas 1, 3, and 7. So our map is on our website. If you know anyone who owns property in that area, please have them check it out and see if it's something they'd be interested in. We're looking to start meetings in October. We're going to have a kickoff meeting before that, but official meeting would be in October. And the topics they'll be talking about are general ideas for West Atlantic development, and also looking at some images that Jess Sowards drew up for the West Atlantic corridor. I think everyone has seen those though, with the fire station relocation and the police station build. So we just wanted to have the committee's input also. Just, I always like to say this committee does not, supersede or get rid of any other input. We want to hear from everyone. So please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions or just want to talk. We also started our CRA socials last year, where people can't come and visit us during the net 8 to 5, they can come to see us in the evenings. We actually did a Saturday social last month that was great. The next social we're having will be with the city during their town hall meeting. We kind of did like a collaboration. So that's July 25th at 5 p.m. We at the field house, and we'll both be talking about budgeting. And for CRA, we'll also be talking about like a 101. We've been kind of harping on that, like what CRAs can and can't do. So we want to continue that theme of just educating people on what the CRA is and what our projects and purposes are. A couple other things, we also opened up application process for affordable commercial spaces on 5th Avenue. So we have 4 spaces open. 2 will be at the 98 Northwest 5th Avenue building. That's a new blue building that we developed last year. Also, one of the cottages we have on 5th and the West Settlers building. All the information's on our website, but we are looking for tenants that can apply to this process. It's a great opportunity. Our rents are extremely reasonable. I think we're starting 98 Northwest 5th is like $18 a square foot. So the intent is to get business in. We're able to start up things that maybe hopefully people from the neighborhood where you can just walk or take a short bike ride to your job and you don't have to travel far. We also have a bid or a request for proposals for 6 single family infill lots in the Northwest and Southwest neighborhoods. This is for the nonprofit developers in Delray Beach. So it is pretty restricted, but if you know any who would be interested, it's a great opportunity. Last couple of things, today's First Friday Art Walk. So come check out Arts Warehouse and all the other arts entities that are participating, but check out Arts Warehouse. Also, Green Market is on tomorrow for the summer. And we also were participating with the a team that was working on the Juneteenth activity. So June 19th is Juneteenth Freedom Day. So we created a roadmap to kind of help organize the information a little bit, and also a way for you to learn about the CRA through your walk with this, with the roadmap. But that information is on our website. I know Spady Museum also has a lot of great info on Juneteenth and also the DDA, but we really wanted to try to make it a way to get all that information out and in one concise way, because so many people were doing different things. And we thought, hi, how about we consolidate it and try to help the cause a little bit. So that's all I have.
That's excellent. So it's delraycra.org.
Yes, delraycra.org. Yes.
Yeah. So that's great that you've consolidated all that information. I appreciate that. And really, if any of you have any commercial real estate friends, please remind them that this space is available for really excellent rates. It's so great what you're doing. That's wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so I think we've got Jackie. Are you here from the SPDC? Do you have an update?
I do.
Good.
Good morning to everyone. I just wanted to remind everyone that the Small Business Development Network is actually the first responder in terms of businesses and how they're affected during a hurricane season. So what I'm going to do is put a link to a review, a page that the network provides that talks to disaster preparedness as well as disaster recovery. So what happens is if there is a hurricane into any part of the state of Florida, as soon as we're given the go-ahead that it's safe to move in, we bring in these huge mobile trucks. Some of you have seen it because we've had one here on show in Delray last year during Business Week. And we're able to counsel those business owners who were affected negatively and help them get back on their feet as soon as possible. And that may include just consulting services. It could include some funding. It could include just guidance. So I'll put that link on the screen. Go in, take a look at it. There are several templates to prepare. There's a guide also in this website, and links if you need to actually talk with someone. Okay. Thank you.
That is great, Jackie. I mean, I work next to you every day. Your office is next to mine, but I had forgotten that you do offer the hurricane services that you do at the SPDC. So that's excellent. And thanks for so many of you staying on topic today. I think that's wonderful. So I appreciate that. So we've got Michael Corbett. I think you're still on from Career Source. Do you have anything you want to mention?
Sure. With the Chamber, with the City of Delray Beach and some other partners, Florida Blue, we're doing a healthcare job fair on August 8th at Old School Square there. So if people are looking for jobs in healthcare, let them know as soon as we finish the flyer. We will begin sending that out to get the word out. Regarding new companies that have come to Palm Beach County, a new company called Sky H2O is a atmospheric water generation company. They're relocating from Irvine, California. He's opening his headquarters in West Palm Beach. The CEO is buying a new condo downtown West Palm. He will be opening filtration water stations in Boca, West Palm, and Palm Beach Gardens. If you want to learn more, go to skyh2o.com. Very interesting company. Mm-hmm. Helix Logistics is coming from Chicago to West Palm Beach on Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard. It's a logistics company that'll be 30 to 35 jobs in the next 18 months. RMS Protective Services is a high-end protection company you would hire for celebrities or politicians and so forth. He is expanding here in Palm Beach County. Instrumentum is a surgical sterilization company that is locating to the research park at FAU. This is a very interesting company that helps hospitals and surgical centers sterilize equipment. They have vans on the road to go to the hospitals and so forth, but I think this company has a lot of promise, instrumentum.com. And two new projects we've been working on with the Business Development Board, Project Turtle. This is a financial services company that is looking at South County, primarily Boca Raton. These would be thousands of jobs, very high paying jobs as well. And then Project Onyx is a steel housing fabrication company that is looking to expand from Miami to South County. So he's in touch with Delray and Boca to look for a location to build a 10-acre site. And that is my update. We've got X Golf is coming and PopStroke is coming as well. So we've got a full pipeline of companies looking at Palm Beach County. Thank you.
That is so interesting because these are super interesting companies with what sounds like very high-end and lucrative jobs that may or may not require a college degree. So that's interesting for our schools. As you all probably know, we work very closely with Career Source, with the city, with the school board, and trying to get these opportunities to our high school students. So we're continuing. That's a project that we're continuing this year and into next year. So I appreciate your partnership with that, Michael. And I don't want to put Sharon LaRue on the spot, but I know she's here from 211. Did you have any updates that you wanted to do?
Hey, thanks. I hadn't planned to, but I'll share a couple quick things.
Okay.
One is that there's a little bit of confusion in the community about the 988 rollout, and I'd be happy to, schedule a separate presentation maybe to talk about that. But 988 is the new number for the National Suicide Prevention Line. And the easy thing to remember is that our team at 211 has always answered the National Suicide Line. We've been answering suicide calls since before the line existed. We answered it when it was an 800 number, and now that it's 988, we still answer it. So that
That's easy.
hopefully will help. Yeah, that's easy. So we still answer it, easy breezy. We are looking at building a new facility. We're in a capital campaign, and we're hoping to break ground later this year. So then we will have stress and anxiety around the hurricane and the kinds of updates we were talking about with FPL. So those are.
Oh, wait, I think, Sharon, can you hear us? Oh dear, I think we broke up. Sharon? Okay, well,
I'm still here, but
okay.
I was saying that's about it. So thank you. Good timing.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you for doing it. Didn't mean to put you on the spot, but you always have something interesting to talk about. So before we wrap up, as far as the chamber goes, we've got a really interesting day-long seminar with Nonprofit Council. It's taking place on June 14th. It's called the Fundraisers Toolbox. So if you're a nonprofit, it's a day-long seminar. There's a speaker's dinner the night before. The Real Estate Roundtable is also on June 13th. Geraldine Walter of Posh Properties is going to talk about the National Association of Realtors. They had a recent ruling that really affects in terms of the commissions for realtors and how it works going forward. It's completely different. So she's going to be talking about that. That's at SPLAR. Contacts and Cocktails is the Courtyard by Marriott Rooftop on the 20th. And on June 23rd, our YPAD group is going to meet at Bounce. So that's what we've got for the month. We won't be seeing you on July 5th, but you'll be getting a note from me about our August First Friday Forum, which is going to be, again, Erica Whitfield from the Palm Beach County School Board. And we'll talk about the start of the school year already. Thanks so much for joining us today, and have a great month of July. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. You as well.
Thanks.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thank you.